Hello, friends, and welcome to another 6-1 Showcase Dev interview. My name is Kyle, and alongside me on the 6-1 side is Becca and Mike. How you two doing?
Hey.
Lovely.
And we're joined today with the game dev of Slider, Daniel Carr from Boomo. Daniel, how are you?
Yo, that's me. I'm doing great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for allowing us to show off Slider. We were smitten the moment we saw it, and I know. We're gonna just pump you up a little bit. I want to start though before we get to know you a little bit more. You put in your interview booking page that you like to bake bread. So, what's the best type of bread, Daniel?
My go-to classic is I love making sausage rolls. They're so easy to make, and it's just meals for the whole week. It's so nice.
Yeah.
That's a very British answer. I don't think I've ever heard anyone not from England talk about a sausage roll.
I think people here also in Atlanta call them pigs in a blanket. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's just
So
more
Dan-
exquisite, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
This man has taste.
Yeah.
Yes.
Daniel, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started as a game dev.
Yeah. So I'm a student from Georgia Tech, currently a fourth year, also doing my master's, and I'll be graduating in like 3 months. So
Yay.
on the way
Congrats.
out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, I've started making games. I don't know. I used to always just watch it. Like even in elementary school, I was like, "Oh, I want to make games. It seems so cool." And I did the thing where you keep watching videos about making it, but you don't actually start. And then high school, I realized I gotta just start, And so I did. Did a game jam. Did pretty mediocre, but I finished the game, and that's what counts.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. So I don't know. Since then, I just kept making games, kept doing it, and then eventually I made Slider, and for I think the Game Maker's Toolkit Jam, and it got 16th out of 6,000. So it's like, oh, that's cool. And
Hell
then
yeah.
brought it to Georgia Tech, pitched it. I thought I could finish it in one semester because we finished one area in the game jam in 2 days. So it's like, 9 areas, it'll be like 2 weeks, but maybe a little more time.
Yeah.
Turns out it's been like over 2 years now. We're still not done. But yeah, that's where I'm at today.
That's exciting.
I mean, real quick, if I may, before
Yeah.
we get into like the nitty gritty of Slider, I don't know if you saw my expression on my face when you described that you're still in school and you're going after your master's. How the hell do you have the time for game dev? Because like, not for nothing, like I haven't had a chance to go hands-on yet, but our other part of our editorial team, Austin, he did the hands-on preview for Slider, which, hey, this is news to you, by the way, Daniel. There's a preview up of Slider up on the website. He says Slider, quote, Slider is a rewarding and familiar puzzle title that feels fresh to play. So obviously you're doing something right. How? With so much on your plate.
Maybe it's just me. I honestly feel like being a student, you have more time compared to when you're doing full-time work. At least comparing from my student life to like my internships that I've done. Like true, while you're a student, you have all the studies, all the classes, tests and all that. But like full-time, it's like, I also have a 2-hour commute where I went, but maybe that's it. But like, it's just straight 9 to 5. You're just always there. Versus here, it's like there's so much freedom. You just put your time wherever.
That's nice. Jeez, I can't imagine.
Yeah. What I was going to ask you was you mentioned game jams. For those who aren't familiar with them, we've heard that term, thrown around by other game devs. What is a game jam? What does it consist of? And how integral is that to you as, making games?
Yeah. So game jam, basically, it's like an online event, sometimes in person. A ton of devs come together and they release a theme on the first day. And then in 48 hours, usually, you have to make a game related to that theme. So for example, Slider, the theme was join together. So like we had the map joined with the sliding pieces. So nice and cool. And then at the end, everyone plays each other's games and it's fun. They're really important in my opinion because it's like it really teaches you to just get out there and make games. It's a quick prototype. You don't have to be super invested in it. And if it works, you made a whole game. If it doesn't work, you lose a weekend. Like, not too big of a deal.
That's fair.
Coming out of the game jam with Slider, what was it about Slider? Well, I mean, it's kind of a leading answer because the mechanic rules and the concept rules. But what was it about Slider that you were like, okay, I want to take this beyond the game jam. I want to start developing this as a full title?
To be honest, I think it was just the feedback that we got.
Yeah.
Out of all of the games I've made, it's like usually generally nice feedback, but there were some people who were like really digging it. So I took that as a sign that maybe we should expand it.
Nice.
Question, Daniel, for people who are bad at slide puzzle games, aka me, how hard am I going? Okay, how hard is it going to be to adjust to this kind of slide mechanic? Is it how daunting is it to even make that game and make it all fit and make it all cohesive?
Well, for the first question, for players, it's, I don't know. I definitely designed Slider with the intent that it would be very hard. I like playing hard games, so I'm forcing that on everyone else.
Great. I love it.
But there's kind of like several different types of puzzles, I guess. Some of them involve needing you to be creative with the mechanics, which I think is fun. Like, using things in ways that you might not initially intend. And then others are like literally just solving a puzzle, moving the tiles around. You kind of just have to like make sure to take a step back and sort of think about what you're doing, which can be hard at times. I think you were asking about design too.
Yeah, like having not only just as a character move and whatever, but moving the world around just seems like a tough thing to kind of plan around and to plan for like the player moving it in certain ways.
Yeah. So we definitely keep that in mind when making puzzles, but usually how I like to design puzzles is sort of like pick like a central mechanic. So for example, the second area is the caves, and there it's like there's lights that can shine and create shadows. And so just sort of I just come up with like a brainstorm every single idea. Like, how can this interact with the core grid sliding mechanic? And then I just take all the interesting stuff and make it into a puzzle.
And could you tell us a little bit about what inspired the kind of bit style retro and like black and gray and white feel with just those like little splashes of color? Like, what kind of inspired that?
Yeah. The biggest reason is because it's easy.
Hell yeah.
It's a lot easier to do than full color. Also, it makes it stand out more. There aren't that many that are 2-bit. Certainly more than I expected, but it helps stand out as being different than all the other pixel art games. Third reason, specific to Slider, since it was being pitched as a VGDev game for my college club, we're going to have a bunch of random people working on the art. So by really restricting the art style, it sort of makes it so that whatever people make is going to fit more and be more cohesive.
That makes sense.
And it definitely has that nostalgic feel to it.
Yeah, and it works. And yeah, it's having so many like cooks in the kitchen, for lack of a better term. It definitely makes sense. I am surprised it's not a more popular aesthetic, especially with it being quote unquote easy. Game dev in general is difficult. Don't know how it's done, but like especially like this game is very much reminds me of Minute, but from Devolver, and development team is blanking off the top of my head. But I thought possibly after the success and kind of like the virality a little bit of Minute, we'd start seeing a lot more games kind of try to fit into that mold. And yeah, I agree. It's not as widespread as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So I think like that was like something that was appealing, seeing Slider come through on the submissions. Like it was instantly like such a fresh breath of air.
It is definitely, the art style definitely has its challenges. All of my artists constantly complain about how there's only 4 colors, but it's even worse than that, because it's like there's 4 colors, but not really, because we're keeping one of them, the white color, for important stuff, because it's like high contrast, and the black color for ground. So a lot of the time they just have to work with only 2 colors for doing sprites with
Yeah,
like
it's
a few
restrictive.
highlights.
But restrictions pay off in a good way, and you
Yeah.
could tell like in the product itself, like it's yeah, it was a good choice. Speaking of which, how many people are on the team, or how many people are currently working on it?
Total on the team, we have I think around, I forget, either 30 or 40 people in our credits.
Nice.
Wow.
Some of them came in just like drew a few sprites and left, it's chill.
Mhm.
Around 10 of them have done like a ton of work. Game would not be possible without them. I think right now there's still like 5 people semi-actively working on it between school or work or whatever.
Nice. Spirit of indie.
Yeah.
Becca, you have a very important question.
I have
Yeah.
a very important question. I have scoured through the Steam page and it mentions cats. How many cats are we talking here?
I think we have at least one in every area, and you just pick them up. You can just carry them. One of the early jokes, we put a cat in one of the houses, and people kept getting confused about it. They thought it was like related to something important, but we just wanted it there for fun. So we decided to just lean into the joke and put a sign. It's like this emotional support cat. Use it however you want.
Are you a cat dad?
I'm not. I want to be. I want to get a Maine Coon. They're like gigantic.
Oh, dude, they're great. Yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
That's
I was gonna
in the meantime, just keep putting them in games, and then it feels like
Yeah.
you have your own
just
cat.
manifesting. I
Manifest.
thought my little void was around me. I would have pulled him up on camera, but he's not around me.
My little void.
Yeah.
Mine are like circling me because I haven't fed them dinner yet.
Like sharks, yeah.
Daniel, I want to ask you about the name Boomo for the studio. What's that mean? How'd you come up with Boomo?
That's actually just my username that I use everywhere.
Oh, sweet. Great.
So it came in elementary school. It was I saw like a YouTube video called Boo Moo Meadows, and instead of Moo Moo Meadows for Mario Kart, I
Yeah.
just dropped the last
Gotcha.
O.
Sweet.
I love stories like that, like the names that like don't really have a story, but people want to know, so it's kind of mysterious. I love that.
Just for fun.
That's
Daniel,
great.
I have a loaded question for you. And we've done a handful of these interviews so far, and I think when it's all said and done, there's gonna be about 20 of them. A common theme has been like what indie means to a lot of the developers that are on the showcase. What does indie mean to you? Like, I don't know, like interpret that how you will, but like, what does that spirit mean to you? What does that grind mean to you?
I think indie games is it's cool because it lets people, for me, it's just like a creative outlet. It lets me pour all my passion into something. I get to show it off. It's kind of falls into the same vein as like D&D, drawing, stuff like that, where you just sort of do whatever you want and show it off.
Hell yeah.
That was
Yeah, it's
really
like
vague.
very
Sorry.
No, it makes sense. It's like very communal, and that's definitely like after years of doing this stuff, like definitely something we picked up on as well. That it's just like, yeah, it's one big, happy, stressed out family.
Very inclusive, and
Yeah. As we kind of wind things down a little bit, obviously big news, July 24th. Hell yeah, congrats, can't wait.
Yes.
Launching for free on Steam.
Free, correct.
What went into that decision?
The biggest factor, 2 factors. One, I wanted as many people to play the game as possible since I'm in college, I'm not too concerned about the money. I'm just going to move on, probably do some full-time job and keep making games on the side. But the other thing was I did not want to deal with splitting it fairly among club members because there's like 30 people.
Fair.
So just make it all free, and any money we do make, send it to charity or reinvest it.
Hell yeah. That's
Great.
awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, yeah. Well, Kyle, you actually started this, so
Yeah, I was about to get into
My
it. I
bad.
was like, oh. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us and talking about Slider and for letting us show it off to the world. If people want to keep up to date with the development progress of Slider and anything future that you make, where can they find you?
Yeah, on Twitter, it's at _Boomo_.
Or find Slider on Steam, and I'm sure there are links there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you all for watching. We got a ton more interviews for you to check out, as well as the actual showcase itself. So please go watch it. And until next time, play more indies. Oh yeah, Mike, I'm sorry. What?
Go play the Slider demo on Steam.
There you go. Go do that.
And
All
go
right,
to
we love you.
sixoneindie.com/showcase to learn more about Slider.
Do that too. All right, now, bye.